Hey everyone, here's a quick video on how to do compound interest. This is a continuation of lesson 6.3 and we'll get right into it. Maybe. Okay, here we go. Compound interest is when we are going to take interest that we would normally get over the course of the year, and we're instead going to get it multiple times a year. So let's say, for example, over the course of an entire year, I'm going to get 10% interest. But instead of getting that 10% interest at the end of the year, I'm going to get a little bit of interest the first half of the year and a little bit of interest the second half of the year. So compounding the interest means we're just going to get it more frequently. We still, over the course of the year, you can see that our interest rate still is 10%, but we're going to split it up into multiple payments. And this actually is better for us in terms of making money. We make more money when the interest is compounded. The formula is pretty crazy looking, but it's actually very similar to a formula that we've learned already, which looks like this. So that P is in the place of the A, which is our starting value. P just stands for principal, which is a banking term. We still have that 1 plus R, where the R is our rate, which is a percent that you have to write as a decimal, which, as a reminder, to do that, you need to divide it by 100. We still have our time, which this time we use T to represent time. It just stands for the number of years we're going to get interest for. And then our new variable here is N. N represents the number of times we're going to get the interest per year. Sometimes that's called the compounded amount, and sometimes that's known as the interest periods. Let's look at an example. So here's an example. We're going to invest $200 into a savings account that will give me 3.5% interest monthly. How much money will I have after 2 years? So over the course of the year, I'm going to get 3.5%, but I'm going to split that into 12 separate payments. So I'm going to get 3.5% interest slowly but surely throughout the year. So let's think about what our variables are. P is our starting amount, which is 200. That's our initial value. R is our rate, which is 3.5%, but I have to divide that by 100. So that gives me 0.35 that I'm going to put in my R value. T is the amount of time that I'm going to be getting interest. So that's 2 years. Now I am going to be getting the interest monthly. Monthly would mean I'm getting it 12 times a year. So I'm taking that interest and dividing it by 12, but also keeping in mind that that means I'm actually going to be getting the interest 24 times total. So let's put all of that together. 200, 1 plus 0.035 divided by 12 raised to the 12 times 2 power. Most of this you can type into a calculator. The one thing I would recommend not typing in all at once would be your exponent. Some calculators will do a different order of operations, or I guess it's the proper order of operations, depending upon what type of calculator you have. So the safest way to handle that is to just type in to the power of 24 versus having two numbers in your exponent. So I ended up getting a really long decimal of 214.47978. And this is a great time to mention that since we are talking about money, we always want to round to the nearest hundredth or 2 decimal places. This 9 tells me to round that 7 up. So my answer would officially be $214.48. So over the course of 2 years, I earned $14.48 in interest. Now, sometimes we will get interest compounded different amounts of time, and there are some key words or clue words that you can look for. If it says you're getting your interest annually, that's 1 time a year. Semi-annually, like semicircle, would be 2. Quarterly would be 4 times a year. Monthly would be 12. Weekly, 52, and daily, 365. Let's look at one more example. Brenda invests $4,848 in a savings account with a fixed annual interest rate of 5% compounded semi-annually. What will the balance of the account be after 6 years? So our starting amount is 4,848. We're going to put that 1 plus. Our rate is 5%, but I have to divide it by 100 to get 0.05. I am compounding this semi-annually, which means I am going to split that interest into 2 payments. That also has to go up in my exponent, and then I'm going to multiply it by the number of years. So in my calculator, I will type all of this in, but instead of doing 2 times 6, I'm going to already have that calculated either in my head or doing it in the calculator in advance. You type that in as I'm doing right now, and you get your answer, which for me is 6,520.02, and I rounded that to the nearest hundredth, so I have to the nearest penny. I hope that helps. Good luck. Have a great night.